This is going to be super awesome, and that is actually an understatement. It is a creamy 3-cheese vegetable lasagna.
Very nice, Ace. Very nice.
Where do we start?
We're going to start with the creamy part of our lasagna.
Yes.
So that is our cream sauce. So we're going to make a basic white sauce. Now there's a couple different ways you can make white sauces. I think we've made some on the show here before. Yep. The original way would be to make a roux. So that's it's 1 part butter to 1 part flour. Then you add some milk to it, and then you whisk it all together.
But that's not this.
That's not this. What we've done is we've started with some milk and some butter in our pot, and we brought it up to sort of a medium-low temperature.
Okay.
So once it's nice and warm, what we're going to do is we've reserved a little bit of milk. So it's cold milk to which we're going to add some flour. So I'll have you add the flour to the milk.
And this one?
Yes, please. Just dump it all in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we're going to just whisk it up so that it's nice and combined. So that means we don't have as many lumps in there. So you can whisk it up real good. Okay. And so then you're going to pour it into our pan, and I'm going to continue to whisk. So again, we minimize lumps. There we go.
I like to whisk as I pour.
Yeah, it looks very fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is this is going to thicken up, and this is your very basic white sauce. So we want to add some flavoring to it, so it tastes a little bit, it's got some pizzazz. So we're going to add a little bit of salt. So you can put the salt in here, all of that. Yeah, you can put some garlic.
Yes, I can.
Okay, fantastic. As well as some fresh minced basil.
Nice.
Yeah. It's always nice to use fresh in this one. It really does bring it to a whole new level.
Okay.
And then some nicely fresh cracked pepper. Very fancy. Okay, perfect.
And this becomes our lasagna sauce.
That's correct. And so what's going to happen is this is going to thicken up,
Yep.
and then over time you're going to get a really nice sauce that's nice and thick like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you can give that a stir. And so
Witness the thickness as I kick this.
Oh, very nice.
Donnie Wahlberg, no more games.
Nice. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the thickened sauce for the bottom of our pan.
Yeah, let's get a base going.
That's right. And what this does is it actually prevents the noodles, which are the bottom layer, from sticking to the bottom of the pan.
Pro tip.
That's right. And so you could do this with your cream sauce. You could actually do it with cream if you just have cream as well. So it's just anything so that you've got an extra sort of thick, creamy layer in between. So there you go. It doesn't have to be pretty, right? Because no one's going to see this.
Okay.
Okay. So our
Then
first
what?
layer is going to be lasagna noodles.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I cooked the lasagna noodles according to the package directions.
Good idea.
And then you strain it, and then you put it into a cold bowl of water. So what that does is it prevents your noodles from sticking together.
Oh, fun.
Otherwise, they will definitely stick together. So you just want to get as much water off as possible.
She's good.
Yeah, it's always good to have these little tips, especially if you're doing things in stages. And this is definitely a recipe that has a few stages involved.
Can I touch
You
one?
certainly can.
They feel hilarious.
They do. All right. It's kind of like the bowl of spaghetti, you know, at the,
That's so
the
fun.
haunted gym sort of in
Yes.
school. Is that what you were thinking
Yes.
too? Yes. Okay. So we've got our 3 down there. So we're going to start with our layers of vegetables.
Okay.
So I've very thinly sliced some zucchini.
Yep.
You can use a mandolin to do
Not
that.
a word of a lie. The biggest zucchinis in the world, are like, I think about like yay long. And they are
Whoa.
grown in Cooks Creek, Manitoba by my mother, Jane Burpee. They're ridiculous.
Well,
They're so big.
What is
You can hollow them out and use them as a canoe, these zucchinis. They're ridiculous.
That's awesome. You can make tons of zucchini bread. But actually, if you wanted to use those zucchinis for this, you can see we've used really like narrow, small ones here.
Yeah.
But use the big ones. They're good for this. You might want to peel it because it's got a tougher skin, and then use rounds. So slice the rounds.
Okay.
Okay, and so the next thing we're going to put on are some red onions. And so we're using red onions because they're a little bit milder and they've got a bit of a sweet sort of taste to them. Okay, and so you don't have to worry about being generous.
This is a great, flavorful vegetarian dish.
Yes, and so often, you know, you're having someone over for dinner and you're really not sure what to make because you need to make it vegetarian.
Right.
This is a great one.
This is it.
So we've got some red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers that we've kind of roasted. We did a cheap roast. We broiled them in our oven for about 9 minutes or so.
It's called working smarter, not working
That's
hard.
right, and you don't have to peel them. You really don't. The next thing we're going to put on is our cheese. So we've got some ricotta cheese.
Do that in dollop form.
You got it. So we can't really spread the ricotta cheese because it's difficult, and we don't want to use a whole ton of it, right?
You have to hurry.
So we're just going to have to do a third
Here
for
she
each
goes.
layer.
You're up against it, Sarah.
I am. So
We've got to fit it in.
I can do it. So some Parmesan cheese we're going to add on top, which has a nice sharp flavor to it. And then finally, this is what's going to make everything stick because it's going to melt together really nicely, is our mozzarella cheese. So what's going to happen is you're going to have 3 layers of noodles, 3 layers of vegetables. We're not putting the sauce until the very end. So your
Oh.
top layer is going to be vegetables, and then we pour all of the sauce on top and then bake it.
And you know what this thing is gonna be like super, okay, it's gonna be delicious, but also like super creamy.
Super creamy.
This
The
is
3
awesome.
cheese and the Alfredo sauce essentially that we made.
So, great show so far, no question. We step it up a notch as we're gonna do some like buttermilk chicken kind of thing.
Marinated chicken in a buttermilk marinade.
So into it. That is right after these. Stay with us.